The following show and its content are the responsibility of the show's producers and participants.
Information related in this program is not meant to substitute medical recommendations. Before starting a treatment program, you should consult your physician.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
That's right. Welcome to the Couch Live. Here, it's a beautiful Friday here from New Smyrna Beach here on WPSN99.com, the problem-solving network. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I'm street-certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you, along with my partner, as always, Trinity Phillips. Wait a minute. I got this all cockeyed over here. I can't even hit the button. There he is, the Dharma Guy. Hello, sir.
Hey, what is up?
Well, man, you know, when you play all these different roles, Trinity.
Is that what you're going to blame it on?
What else would you blame it on, sir? What? What was
that? Bad memory. What else are we gonna blame it on?
All right, camera off of you now. Camera back on me. Back to me, because he was about to put me down about something. Anyway, I just need another swig of this. I can't show you because they're not a sponsor yet, so I got to cover it up.
Like we haven't announced it. I don't know how many times.
I know, right? Anyway, Trinity, we got a good show today.
We do.
If you're watching on Facebook Live, you see another person here sitting with us. You don't see Angel because Angel is hidden.
She's back.
Wait, let me show her hand. There's Angel.
Yes.
But we have Cindy Dodds in here with us. Cindy Dodds from down south. Down south.
Down south.
Down south. It's not really south. It's like driving north.
Sure.
Right. And,
we're going there, right?
We're going there. We're going there. And Cindy Dodds, I'll let her tell her story anyway. She has a great story that we want to talk about. It's not such a great story as far as like, it's a sad story, but it's one that it has put her on a mission. And I think her mission is really important. I think it's a really cool story to tell. And she drove up from South Florida to come tell it. And so we'll be talking about needle exchange program and her son, Kyle Dodds. Should we just get right into that? Oh, give the sponsors and then let's get right into it.
Yeah, we got some housekeeping to do.
Yeah, let's do the housekeeping, which this is what allows us to go for a full hour without taking a commercial break by doing it all up on the front end. So go ahead, Trinity, tell everybody why we do this.
Yeah, man. And I'm going to switch it up just a little bit today.
Hey,
too,
Laura.
actually. So we got our wonderful sponsors who keep us on the air and keep us doing what we do. We have behavioral health. We have Journey Pure. We have Orange County Drug Free Coalition, which is having their conference on June 6th, which would be, Thursday of next week.
Yeah.
You and I both will be presenting at that one.
Yeah.
And then we have the Now Matters More Foundation, which, of course, is our passion. And you can check us out at nowmattersmore.org, and you can see what we're about. You can donate there as well. Or if you need help right now, you can call 833-NOW-MATTERS-MORE, and he will send you to voicemail until we're done.
Wow.
Right now, it would be hard.
It's not Now Matters More. 833 Now Matters.
Now Matters. Yeah. Whatever.
I mean, how many phone numbers can there be? How many numbers can there be in a
you
phone?
You can just keep pressing until you say stop.
Yeah, but you know how long it'll take me to do the more?
You're going to be on the phone.
5.
Yeah, but whoever's doing that, you'll be on the phone. All right, stop hitting buttons now. I'm on the phone.
Trini, let me remind you, some of these people are a little bit intoxicated. Don't give them too much to do.
Right.
833 Now Matters.
Sure.
And, I don't like it if you're calling intoxicated, but if you are, you are. But, I prefer the actual person that's driving you or taking care of the situation for you while you're not doing so well. Have that person call, and then we'll put you on the phone.
Last but not least, at the moment, we have brought on a new sponsor.
Right.
And that would be Sports Subaru South. Not to be confused with the other one. This is Sports Subaru South on OBT.
That's like saying, "Hey, go to the pink house." No. Hey, like when you're giving directions and you're saying, "You know that pink house that's there? Yeah. Not that one. Forget that one."
No, I said
Don't
Sport
say
Subaru
that.
South.
Yeah,
on
just say
OBT.
that. SportsSubaruSouth.com.
You can check them out at sportsubarusouth.com.
There you go.
And the cool thing with them is they have an event coming up from November 15th to December 31st.
Yeah, what's up?
They call it the Share the Love event. And what they are going to do is every car that they sell, they're going to donate $250 to the Now Matters More
Oh,
Foundation.
that's awesome.
So yes,
That's awesome.
it is,
But don't wait till November to buy a car from Sports Subaru South.
no, just buy another one in November.
Right.
Just keep buying cars.
Yeah,
Tell your
just-
whole family. Or your whole
Go now
neighborhood.
and then go then.
Exactly.
I like it.
But the other housekeeping we got to do is
My dad wants a new Subaru, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wants the Forester.
Oh, it's not bad actually. I rented one of those.
Did you?
They're pretty nice.
You fit?
Yeah.
Oh well,
Yeah.
that's a great.
Yeah, it's a decent size.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But the other
Sure didn't fit in that damn Camry.
No. The other housekeeping we have is today is the grand opening of a new facility in DeLand, and it's called the Heroes Mile.
Heroes Mile.
Yeah, it's a veteran recovery and transition center.
Yeah, for veterans by veterans.
Yeah, and the grand opening is today. You'll
Right.
be there along with our VP
Right.
and some other people there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it's not far from my house, Heroes Mile. But I really love that it's for veterans by veterans.
Right.
I really love that whole idea. So I'll be going there later on, checking it out. Our good friend John Picciano from Oglethorpe. They're the company behind the deal, and I look forward to seeing them.
Right on. And then we have to mention anyways, this is our
What's up?
first show since coming back from Cali,
Right.
where we did
Right.
we added a couple facilities to our list for the
Yeah.
Now Matters More Foundation, people that we vetted.
Right.
Northbound Treatment had us come out there. And they have a few facilities. We got to see their in-network as well as their detoxes and everything.
Yeah, they have an in-network and outer network, so make sure that you check them out, Northbound Treatment.
Yeah, and while we were there, we got to meet with Casey from New Method Wellness.
Right, New Method.
Which you might see on your favorite show, the Dr. Phil Show, all the time. I know how much you love him. So, but yeah. So
Did you just out that I have issues with Dr. Phil?
No, I think you just did that.
Yes, I did, Dr. Phil. I just think he's a little angry at people sometimes.
Yeah.
He's just a little condescending.
My mom swears by him.
Listen,
So.
look, I'm not saying he's not a good doctor. What I'm saying is I take issue with putting people on television that are as young as they are and publicly shaming them. I think that, and I'm not a snowflake by any means. However, I am against ridiculing individuals on the air because you never know. They need real help.
Yeah.
And sometimes these moms and dads that you have on your show, Phil, they're the problem, too. It's not like they're completely innocent. They go in there and they say all these things, and the whole crowd hisses at the kid or hisses
Well, I
at the
think
parent, and she needs help, too, or he needs
I
help, too.
believe he does address that sometimes. Though.
He addresses it, but he's addressing it in an open forum, and I take
Sure.
issue with therapy being done in an open forum. Anyway, that's enough.
Yeah.
Let's go on to our show.
When we were out there,
Great entertainment, though, for people if you want to watch a
Absolutely.
train wreck.
when we were out there in Cali, we did a show and we interviewed some people from Northbound.
Right.
And one of them was Jason Waller from
the Hills.
The Hills in the OC, I think it was.
The Hills and no, not the OC.
No, the OC.
Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach,
okay.
the Hills, and the Hills New Beginnings.
Okay. And so that's a great show, actually. It's up on YouTube now. If you go to youtube.com/thecouchlive,
Right.
you can check that out in all its glory.
Right.
But it was a good show, and we are now back in the heat of
Right.
Florida.
Right. Awesome.
Welcome.
Well, you did a fantastic job there, Trinity.
I do my
appreciate it.
best.
That's the Dharma Guy. And if you want to hear more of the Dharma Guy, of course, you can go to youtube.com/Dharma Time. And that's Dharma Time, where Trinity is the lead and I'm the co-host. We flip it around and talk more Buddhist principles and just how to live everyday life. Get through it, man, because we're all just trying to get through it, right? But anyway, we're on the couch live today, so let's get to it. Trinity, we have a special guest right
We
there.
do.
There she is, Cindy Dodds. Cindy,
That's right.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Let me
Yeah.
turn you up a little bit more. Go ahead, Cindy.
It's okay. You can
Don't be
for-
afraid of that
I'm doing
microphone.
well.
Oh,
You're
there
doing
you
well.
go.
You can be forceful with us. We can take
Okay.
it.
Yeah, we can definitely take it. Cindy, so you drove up from South Florida today?
Well, my husband actually lives in Lake Mary for work, so I'm there, and then I came over.
Oh, so you were in Lake Mary. I like Lake
Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, as
Right
of
on.
this weekend.
What does he do that he has to work there?
UPS division manager over a lot up
Wow.
here.
Oh man, I was hoping you'd say FedEx. I got this FedEx thing, and I don't want to have to go all the way to Daytona. I was just
doesn't
gonna
apply.
say, can you tell your husband to just bring it to me?
No
please?
favors.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so horrible beginning to your entrance into this world of addiction, treatment, or everything that we do, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm looking here at an in remembrance of Kyle Cole Dodds, born May 11th, 1992, unfortunately passed away September 26th, 2016. This is your son.
Yes, it was.
All right.
And
why don't you tell us a little bit about Kyle before that? I mean, who's Kyle?
Kyle, big snappy blue eyes, very funny kid.
Snappy. I never heard that.
Snappy blue eyes. The girls loved him.
Right.
His definite gift was athletics, and he was noticed as a child, very young, throwing the football across the field, playing baseball. Whatever he did, he excelled in sports.
Right.
So that became a source of great pride for him, and also gave him purpose.
Okay.
So we were 100% behind that. We didn't like the idea of him playing football, but he had such a passion for it.
Right.
So at 15, he was playing against a very big school, and he's not the biggest guy on the field. And they said, we have to get one player off the field. That's number 3, Kyle Dodds. And so they did. They tore the labrum in both of his shoulders.
Oh, the other team,
yes,
you're saying?
yes.
Now, is this something that you're feeling, or like this was
No,
admitted?
This was actually, my other son was at Nova Southeastern University playing baseball for them, and he
Right.
was at the lunch table next to the coaches
Wow.
of this school,
Wow.
and he overheard it, and he made a call and said, Kyle's in trouble.
Whoa.
So,
Whoa.
you know, I mean,
That's interesting.
it's the way it is. I mean, when you share tapes and everything before your games, you
Right.
know what you're going to do.
Right.
That's how you do your plays.
Right.
So, long story short, he had 2 surgeries before Christmas of his sophomore year, and had torn the labrum off both shoulders. So he was introduced to Oxycontin and hydrocodone, all the derivatives, and from the first pill, Kyle was euphoric. And I said to my husband, wow, it's so good he's not in pain from this surgery, but I don't understand. When I take this pill, I don't feel like that. I feel sick to my stomach or tired.
Yeah.
But he's telling us the goals for his life and how he wants to play for University of Miami. And it was kind of fun to watch him lifted up.
Yeah.
He fought his addiction pretty hard until his senior season was over at Westminster Christian School in Miami. He was expecting a major college scholarship. He got a minor one to a school in North Carolina. And that's when the wheels came off. He was just so tired of beating this monster down, hiding his pot use, hiding Xanax, hiding whatever he was doing from us so that he could just get through and finish up his season. And it was at New Year's Eve was his first. He should have had a DUI and fell in somebody's pool. And when we got him, we had no idea what he was on. So we went into hyper, let's get this solved. Well, as you guys know, you can't solve addiction for somebody else. They got to want it. And also you can provide opportunities, but ultimately you got to seize it yourself. So we did fixes. He got DUIs. He crashed cars. Never hurt anybody, thank God. Never hurt himself. We got him. He overdosed the first time in our home the summer after his senior year. And I was first responder, as I would be in 3 of them. And we got him into rehab, and I thought 30 days in rehab, he's going to come back fixed. We had the whole intervention, all this coaches, everyone was in the living room. He was not pleased when he walked in the living room. So he was in and out of rehabs. He did go away to school, but ended up coming back, finished up his AA degree, but all the time he went to 8 rehabs. He was in sober living homes. He struggled mightily against this disease, because he couldn't forgive himself for having this disease. He would constantly tell us, you raised me right. You gave me every opportunity. I have no excuse for being like this. I don't understand. And I think that's part of why he never found lasting recovery, because every time he came out of rehab, out of sober living with a new resolve, he saw he had lost all this time. And for a kid that was so driven in life, losing time behind his friends really hit him. So let's flash forward to the summer of 2016. He was coming out of sober living. He was doing really well. He had a job. He bought a new car, a Camaro he was paying for. He was always, you could never tell he was on drugs, because he just didn't look like it. It wasn't a typical thing.
He presented well.
He presented very, very well. but he was losing so many friends that were in recovery. He goes, Mom, you tell me to make new recovery friends, and then I bury them the next week.
Right.
He says, I can't take this life. And so it was a day after, it was a Sunday morning, and Jose Fernandez, the pitcher for the Marlins, had just died. And it hit Kyle very hard because they were very similar in the way that they played with such passion and joy. And they actually looked alike, and he had met him at one of the games.
Oh, wow.
So we got the call in the morning from a police officer, a friend of ours, saying Jose Fernandez is dead. Kyle woke up, and we were getting ready to go to church, and it hit him so hard, and he just spiraled down that day. And he ended up going out and getting something to drink. And for Kyle, that was gateway. You have a beer, you have a joint, everything starts again.
Right.
So we had rules in our house that you can't live here in active addiction not getting help. You can go to your meeting, whatever it's going to be.
Right.
We can't just let you watch you do this. We have to help you. I don't know if that's right or not. I really don't. So he ended up going out and falling asleep in his car, and so he slept there that night. And the next morning he got up, and he went and took a shower somewhere else, got ready for work, and about 6:45 in the morning he stopped in Overtown, which is called the Rectangle of Death in Miami, where all the overdoses pretty much are happening.
Was it called that then, or is it called that now? Okay.
Yes, it was called that
So it was a
then.
known issue.
Oh, yes. You can actually drive to a bus stop, not even get out of your car and get your drugs, and go over to South Beach and party wherever you're going to go.
Right.
So Kyle was not a heroin user. His drug of choice was cocaine when he was very low. So he went to get a bump of cocaine to just pick himself back up and get going again. And they mixed in fentanyl, morphine, everything you can think of was mixed into it, but the one that got him was carfentanil, which you probably know it's as small as a couple grains of sand.
Right.
And that stopped him immediately. It was very fast. And I'm thankful for that he didn't suffer. People from the neighborhood came and protected his body until the cops came. There's very good people in this area, very, very good people.
And they're used to it, apparently.
Oh, it was so awful down there. It was the month that Kyle died. I think they lost 245.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, in September. That was the height of the epidemic for us. But then they got the lab that was producing the carfentanil.
Oh, okay.
And they busted it.
Was it in that area?
No, it was actually south in a very nice area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from there, you have a choice when you lose your child. You can go into the black hole, and you can just be in that black hole. Or you can look around and say, for the rest of my days, I'm going to make a difference. And that's what I selected to do. And as I asked God to open doors, the doors just started flying open, speaking in schools, on the radio, newspaper, NBC6. I mean, it astounds me how much he's using me. But then when I look at my whole life, it's led to this part of my life. I miss this kid. He was a great kid. He's I think of all the kids we're losing in this generation.
So many
and bright and free thinkers. And, we need those left, right brains together.
Right.
And I do wonder what's coming, as a result of all
What do you mean
this.
by that?
Well, we know about foster care. We know about the orphans.
Right.
But when they get to middle school and their hormones are raging and they don't understand why their life is so hard, are we ready for that?
No.
Yeah. It's a humongous problem that has been artificially caused, by drug companies.
Yeah, it's a completely preventable problem as far as the large scale.
Yes.
It's never been preventable on a smaller scale, but
You're completely
the large
correct.
scale is definitely preventable.
Well, as we're seeing now with these prosecutions and trials at the big pharmaceutical company, it was Purdue Pharmaceutical that got Kyle addicted. And they told us 1% addiction rate. It's up to 75% for kids like him with these sports injuries. I mean, that's horrendous.
When you seem to know what was in his system, what was all in his system?
Oh, my gosh. He had alcohol. He had pot. I don't think he had Xanax. No, there was no Xanax.
Really? That's interesting, because we find a lot of these deaths have benzodiazepines in them as well.
I don't think he had anything in his system for that, but then I mean, what they mixed into
Carfentanil
the
alone would do it, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, for those of you that don't know, I mean, the carfentanil is the powder that why law enforcement, a lot of first responders are being asked definitely wear gloves. And whenever you see a white powdery substance, don't touch it because it just takes a little grain or a couple of grains, and really it's an elephant tranquilizer. So it's not for human consumption at all. As if these drugs were already dangerous as is. It's compounded when you have something like fentanyl or carfentanil, which is even worse than fentanyl. But that's why we don't touch white powders anymore.
No.
When back in the day, even I would touch. I mean, parents would bring in white powders and say, "What do you think of this?" And I would kind of look at it, smell it, and stuff. With carfentanil, I'm not.
No.
I don't even want to look at it. Don't touch it. Leave it. Call the authorities and have them come look at it. Don't touch it.
Well, I went back to his high school to speak with them in one of their assemblies.
Right.
And I showed his football video, which is pretty impressive for he's not the largest guy. And they all remembered him. And I said, well, think of this. It took an animal tranquilizer of a bull charging animal coming at you to stop my son.
Wow.
That's pretty
That's
impressive. Yeah. But so my mission is to educate people as fast as I can.
Right.
And so many parents have no idea what these substances are hardwiring into their child's brain.
Right.
And people have different levels of severity of addiction. I've learned that. Some people can walk away. Some people, it doesn't affect their whole life. But there are some, like my son, that it runs super deep. And the earlier you try a substance, the longer it gets embedded into your brain, and it becomes your coping mechanism.
Right.
And you actually are developing a new brain as a result. It's not the brain you were intended to have.
You probably learned so much more about addiction and so much more about this thing that you wanted to.
Oh, I educate people everywhere I go. I mean, this story has gone around the world literally because of where I live in Miami.
Do you think had you had this education that you would have done some things differently? Because I really don't like to believe that I would have done a lot of things differently. Because I have to be okay with where I'm at.
That's a great point.
You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people like me that have had issues. We have to be okay with where we're at. So I can't get in a mindset like, oh, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Because I just have to move forward and do the next right thing for the next person, right? And by helping someone else, that's me. That's my mission. That's what I do. Do you feel kind of like that? Because as a parent, obviously, you were in less control. So, but I'm a parent as well. I take responsibility for everything that seems to happen to the kids to some degree inside me. So how do you
So you're asking me about parental guilt.
Yeah.
The parental guilt is horrendous on you.
Right.
My husband has beat himself up over things, and I'm like, can you not see this for what it is? But one of the biggest gifts that Kyle gave me before he died, when he came home from sober living, and he was starting to slip already. He'd had a horrendous, he was set up on a robbery. He wasn't robbing somebody, he was set up to be robbed, and they messed him up a little bit. And he came home, and I was reluctant because I really wanted him to go back to treatment. And he came home, and we were up all night talking, and I just listened. And if I could tell parents to do anything,
it's okay.
Just listen, because your kids are suffering. And he educated me into the monster that lived in his head and how it wakes him up in the middle of the night. He doesn't even know it's there. He doesn't even know that.
That was a poorly timed ring.
It's all right. Sometimes you need those things.
That's your son, by the way. He just did that. He rang that phone.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
The stuff he does.
They have such sense of humor after they pass, don't they?
Yes. He came back to me once, but we're not going to go there.
But yeah, it's hard to listen to them.
It's hard to listen because you're seeing it through your filter, not their filter.
Right.
And when you start to take that veil off your eyes and you see it through their filter, how they're suffering, how they don't want to be this person, how you possibly judging them is making it worse on them. They need somebody that they can come to.
Right.
And we were at times, but then there were times that we were judgy parents.
Right.
And I regret that.
Right.
But what I tell parents now, and I still have my friends who know the story, will still say, well, Kyle had a choice. And I'm like, oh my God. Goodness.
They tell you this.
I hear it not from them, from somebody else saying, be careful. This is what they're saying.
Yeah, and whoever's telling you that, by the way, listen. Let me talk to some people here real quick.
Yeah.
When you share information about what someone said about someone that you care about, sometimes they just don't need to hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're saying this because you know it, But ask yourself, is it of any value for this other person to know it? If what you're trying to do is trying to attack that person or get back, then you go to that other person and say, look, you shouldn't talk like that. I don't like that you said that in my presence, or I don't like the way you're saying it. But there's no need to go tell the person that was being talked about. It only further injures them, and it's not necessary. It's not useful at all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I avoid people now because I'm like, okay, after 2.5 years of telling you this story, you haven't grown or learned or listened.
Right.
I'm done. Yeah. Yeah, I'm moving on. But
yeah. So when you open up and talk, it's I can see it's painful. I mean, I can look at you and see the pain. And there's no way I can even imagine that kind of pain. I'm not going to pretend to. I'm not going to pretend I understand it. But we do speak to a lot of people that are in your situation. Unfortunately, I know way too many moms like you.
Yeah.
But you said something that I think is very important to highlight, and that was you still said your husband. I'm guessing you're still together.
Oh yeah, we've been on the same page.
That is
from day one.
that right there.
It's big.
I
It
have
is
found that to be unfortunately not the norm all the time. And so that really warmed me when you said that. When you said my husband, it sounds like you both still have each other.
Oh, we have each other. And when Kyle was in rehab, we went to one of these parents' weekends, and I heard these parents that had broken relationships now as caused by the addiction of their children.
Yeah.
And the children continue to blame the parents for their addiction. And the parents, they're like islands just revolving out there because they're just broken because of all of this.
Right.
And they can't fix it. And now they're being judged. And my son, who was always a leader in life, he stood up and said, when are you guys going to take responsibility for yourself? It's not your parents' fault. And he just nailed them. And my husband and I just looked at each other and was like, wow, I've never been prouder of him.
Well, some of that has to do not only who he was as a leader, like you said, and someone like that, but also because he got into the world of addiction differently.
Yeah, he did.
It didn't seem like he got in through his own personal trauma or his own substance use little by little.
Well, I can't
it
say
kind of took
that
a fast
for
forward
sure.
a little bit.
Well, he was experimenting with pot and alcohol young.
Right.
Like 13.
Oh, okay.
And then later at 23, they finally diagnosed him with social anxiety. He's been talking about it, but it never really affected his life.
Well, let's go back to 13 a little bit then.
Yeah.
Tell me what was going on at 13. Did you know that he was smoking pot?
I was told by his coach something's up.
Okay.
I caught him once,
Okay.
and I said, "What's up with this? You can't do this.
Right.
This is not good for you."
Right.
And so it was sparse.
Right.
From what I know. Of course,
Right.
I'm the mom.
Right.
But he was already starting to self-medicate for a reason, and he wasn't doing well in the classroom. And then what I learned from social anxiety is that even though he knew every play in football, he was a leader in everything, he didn't seem to have social anxiety.
Right.
In the classroom, he was so terrified to be called on for an answer and not know it that he would shut down. It actually shuts down your learning center.
Right.
And from that point on, you cannot learn.
Right.
So that anxiety becomes crippling, and then you add in drug use.
Right.
Later in life, it really became an issue for him.
But at that age, it's so difficult to have the conversation with young people because they can't possibly imagine the end that is for some,
Of
like
course.
Kyle. So what is the conversation there that you would talk to other parents about 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds and
to
14-year-olds?
watch for them. If they're
But and do what? Like what do you do with the knowledge? It's almost like that doctor that doesn't ask if you have a drug or alcohol problem because then they don't know what to do with it. Like then what? What do you?
Well, information and education is powerful,
Sure,
no matter how it
sure.
comes in. What I have told, and I've educated teachers on this now, when you've got that kid that's excelling in something like sports,
Right.
and excels in what he does well,
Right.
but is terrified of things he doesn't do well, that's anxiety.
Right.
And I said that's a crippling disease for some kids.
Yes, it is.
So with that information, now remember, I was going to psychologists trying for educational issues for him and doing all these things.
Yeah, you weren't sitting still.
No, I was asking questions like
Right.
crazy, but nobody diagnosed him till 23.
But even if they would have, what would they have given? You know what they would have given him? What, an anti-anxiety, right?
Well, I'm not sure I would have gone that route, but I probably
they would have tried to.
I probably would have designed his education differently.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in a very good school.
That very good point.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Because and here's the issue, though. Unfortunately, our anti-anxiety medications are very addicting.
Oh, absolutely.
Our Valium, Xanax, all the benzos. I mean, they're very powerful. So we kind of go find them out there on our own, right? Like we had Quaaludes and pot Back in the day. I think Quaaludes are gone, so now we have Xanax, which is not as powerful as a Quaalude, but it's doing just as much damage,
gosh, it's so
if not
addictive.
more, because it's been around for so long and it's flying under the radar all the time. That's why I was asking that when you.
And they're mixing fentanyl into
Xanax gets mixed with everything.
Yeah.
With alcohol, with pot, without with cocaine, with heroin. It's like alcohol, pot, and Xanax are like the common three. They're with everybody.
Yes.
You might have someone that uses cocaine in those three, or someone that does heroin in those three, but those three are kind of the standard.
You're completely right.
And unfortunately, people just don't give it enough attention. But a lot of kids claim to have anxiety. That's why I wanted you to touch on it, because anxiety, like we didn't used to use the word stress. So we're in a parent. There's that. Is there a way to turn that off or no? There's that stress that we don't understand as young people. I mean, as older adults, because we weren't allowed to voice it. Mm-hmm. This younger generation kind of uses it like against us sometimes.
Well, and then you've got the surge of over prescribing the ADHD medications and what that can lead to.
Again, all those medications can get you addicted to.
Absolutely.
So our amphetamines are a problem. Our anti-anxiety medication are a problem. So what looks like not the problem? Well, what looks like not the problem is if I smoke pot, if I drink a little, I feel better, and it's not causing me the same problems as like an Adderall or a Xanax. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we get tricked a little bit because our self-medication tends to be less harmful than the actual pharmaceutical medication initially.
Yeah, and I believe that. I don't know for sure. Of course, I'll never know for sure. But it seemed like Kyle had this under control. It wasn't like all the time or anything, but it was the opioid that really jump-started into another realm. Oh, yeah.
Opioids take it to another level.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so you've been very involved. You and your husband have been together and being each other's support system. But as you've been getting more involved, I notice that you kind of took a jump into. Some parents do this, and I'm really always like amazed at how far you guys can take it. But you started having people listen, because politicians have difficulty not listening to you. Yeah. Like they'll not listen to me all day long because I don't have that part of the story. But it's weird because I ask for money all the time to help addicts get better, and nobody listens. Nobody wants to donate for addicts that are still suffering. But somebody dies. And all of a sudden, now you guys want to listen. Yeah. Now you want to donate.
Yeah.
Now a politician goes, oh, now I am going to put value in what you have to say. And they parade us when we have that kind of story. Mm-hmm. But what I like is, okay, that's fine. I get that. I don't blame you, because that's your job. That's your deal. My deal is my deal. But you're actually parlaying that into, okay, then you can use me, but I'm also going to use you, and here's the message that I want to give. So let's talk about some of those messages that you're able to now promote or things that you're able to educate, because it's a win-win situation now, unfortunately.
Well, standing ovation from the House of Representatives in April. That was a pretty good one.
I bet. Yeah. What was the standing ovation about?
Well, it's myself and Joy Fishman, whose husband is actually the developer of Narcan.
Oh, yeah.
She's the widow.
God, has that not saved lives?
Yes, it has. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So when I was talking about Kyle, what I had noticed where Kyle died were needles all over the ground. And we talked about this a little bit, and how I started to follow, why are they disappearing? Why are things changing in this area so dramatically? And I followed it back to the Idea Exchange, which is in Miami-Dade. It's right across the street from Camilla's house, which is a shelter and, an educational place.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And then right behind the Neal Exchange is Jackson Hospital with its psych ward, with rehab facilities, with everything. And that's a publicly funded hospital. Right. So this young medical student, Dr. Hansel Tukes, he is an HIV doc. And he started seeing the surge in Miami of HIV cases. And at one point in 2016, we had the highest number in the whole country. Now, this was a city that had been decimated by this before and got it under control.
Right.
So he did investigation himself and found out it was the exchanging of needles between addicts and dirty needles.
Right.
So he went in full force, and the first time he went up to Tallahassee to get the bill passed that would allow him to start this program in Miami-Dade.
He had to go all the way to Tallahassee to start it.
Yes.
Isn't that sad?
It's very sad, but it has a great ending.
Yeah.
Because it's all federal funding. The state hasn't paid a thing towards the needle exchange. It's private funding, and it's has saved so many lives. But as I started to notice the needles disappearing, I found out about this place, and I went over. It's not far from where Kyle died.
Wow.
And I just fell in love with them. It is 4 trailers pretty much put together in a very, very bad area of town.
Yeah.
With homeless everywhere, and I love the homeless. That's my heart now. It's
Really?
for the homeless. Oh gosh, yes.
Good for you.
Oh, the stories are incredible stories. I'd rather be there than with most of my friends. Sorry, friends.
They helped me in L.A. So
Well, I'll tell you.
those conversations were golden.
So, as you walk into the compound,
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing is they're doing 1-for-1 needle exchange. They've taken in 315,000 needles and given out 305,000. So that's 10,000 that
Wow.
were just picked up and brought back for no reason other than to clean the streets.
Hmm.
11% of the people that come through that door seek recovery from them at one point or
That's
another.
a great number.
It's a great
That's
number.
a great number.
And they make a phone call, and Jackson Detox is ready. Banyan, I mean, there's a bunch of them that take them in for free.
Wow.
And so,
And Banyan is not the public.
No.
Banyan's private.
but they have some sort of an agreement
Good
with
for you,
them.
Banyan.
Yeah.
Right on.
And then, so this little pack they give them with the sharps, it has
Mm-hmm.
a tool to pick up the needles off the ground so you don't get stuck with them.
Really?
And the cops like it because when they pat these people down, they find the sharps container, and their idea of this person is already, they're more responsible than the normal person. So
Wow.
it's a change in attitude. But in the kit is Narcan. And they've had 12,000 reversals since December of 2016 when they opened their doors.
Wow.
Our overdose deaths are way down in Miami-Dade, way, way down. And I'm not saying overdoses are down, but overdose deaths are down.
Which is really, you got to go there first.
You have to go there first
You
because it
need-
gives you another day.
Right. Do you have one of these kits on you by any chance?
I don't. I should have brought that. They hand
you
me
can't be
stuff
perfect.
all the
You
time.
can't be
yeah, I
perfect,
know.
Cindy.
I try.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's on Thursday afternoons. I go over once in a while. I'll feed everybody that comes in, and the medical students come over and they start treating patients as they come in. And what they're doing is wound care, abscesses. They're for the ones that have tested positive for HIV, they're given their HIV suppression meds.
Mm-hmm.
They if they test positive for Hep C, then they cure the Hep
There's
C.
so many of those now, right?
Oh yes.
The number of Hep C has risen so great in the last 10 years.
Yeah. And so you can get everything you need to safely inject.
And
there.
that's expensive medication for your Hep C. So
Well, they have a whole locked trailer that you cannot get in with
Wow.
everybody's locker for their meds. And I
Right.
mean, they're dispensing everything they need. When they don't come in and they're worried about them, there's one doctor goes out on his skateboard with a backpack and finds them and dispenses.
Oh, great!
the
Another,
meds.
there's these professionals and their skateboards. This new generation and
Oh,
their skateboards.
I love him, Dr. Eddie Suarez. He's awesome.
Oh, I like his last name, Suarez.
It's Suarez.
I'm biased.
Yeah, he's great. He actually went to the same high school as Kyle.
Oh.
But they also have mobile units that go out and exchange all over the city of Miami. So what the bill was, it was really a lot of fun. It's to expand it across Florida, and we got almost 100% unanimous vote for it.
Whoa.
They had a stand, they ovation, recognized all of us. It's past at 10:30 at night after the session been in all day long. We're just like, oh my goodness.
I feel sorry for you, but not for them. They got to go to work.
Right.
Yeah, but there was another mental illness bill that was passed right before ours. So it was really
It was a heavy day.
it was a wonderful day.
Beautiful.
It was a wonderful day because people and families, their lives are going to be saved.
Yeah.
And so
So does the bill allow these to open all over the state?
yes.
Is that what the bill does?
Yes, and the Senate passed theirs unanimously. We're waiting for Governor DeSantis to sign. Hopefully, if anybody knows him, I've already written and called him quite a few times.
So it's approved, just not signed.
Right. And
Why does that happen
seems to
here
be
in
the
Florida?
trend right now.
That is the trend.
and if he gets to his desk and he doesn't sign in a certain
Has
amount
he
of time,
signed
it's-
anything since he's been?
Yes, he has. He
Okay.
signed some pretty controversial things.
Oh no, but has he signed anything that we all will cheer for right now? I mean, because I keep hearing things on the table but not
Yeah.
signed. I keep
Yeah.
hearing that.
I know.
Like, what would prevent you from signing something that's already passed. That's not your job. Your job is to sign what other people have already determined is a good idea.
It's politics. That's the only thing I can think. Maybe he does
I hate that word.
I'm not going to jump in because he's
He's
proving
been
in
good.
a lot of ways he's doing some really good things.
Well, I know this administration, the overall federal administration, has been a lot stronger on this issue than the previous federal administration. So that's a positive because there's more money dumped in from the federal system into this problem, which we needed.
Yes.
So that's been the overall positive. But these local governments need to also, the middle, here we go with the middle again. Like we're talking about middle management. Yeah. Here we go earlier before the show. That middle management, the state people are, because our county people are doing phenomenal. So the county people are doing phenomenal. The federal is doing phenomenal with this issue. But that state thing, they need to start signing and getting their job done.
That's politics.
That Tallahassee.
So you asked me how this will go across Florida.
Yeah, tell me.
It's going to be an opt-in, case by case, for counties that want in.
Okay.
And what I try to emphasize is, people, we're not bringing a needle exchange into a beautiful set-up neighborhood.
To New Smyrna Beach, where we're at right now.
Right.
You're not bringing it here.
Right. We're bringing it to the public hospital where people are really reeling, or wherever it's going to be. It can be, this needle exchange in Miami is so holistically driven with addressing all their needs. Right. It could just be a simple needle-to-needle exchange in another city.
Well, because the referrals from there for food, shelter,
absolutely.
Everything for mental health issues, because tons of people out there with mental health issues. So this is fantastic work that you're involved in.
Well, it's their brainchild, and
I know, but they've probably had this brainchild for a lot of time, and people don't listen to them a lot of times. Again, people like you get heard.
Well, as my husband says, nobody can turn down the mother of a dead child.
No, it's like a what do they call it, the Golden Star?
Yeah,
families. You can't say no to them either.
And you can tell it because you're telling your story and from your heart.
Right.
That's broken. It's always going to be broken.
Right.
You said it was opt-in. Obviously, we are both involved heavily with Orange County.
Right.
Have they opted in? Do you know?
It's not law yet, so.
Do they have the option?
He hasn't signed it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Every county. I mean,
so even if it's not signed in, they can still have the option to sign in now, or no?
No,
to opt in?
No, they can't. It has
Come
to
on,
be.
DeSantis, get going, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's.
Well, we can call his office from the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we'll just, give us the information.
Israel.
He's in Israel?
He's in Israel right now, so you're not going to
He'll be back.
Oh, yeah, but you can't stay there.
No, he's not going to stay there.
Like, everybody's visa runs out. Except here in the States. I mean,
I just, what I would
you guys can all stay here.
I would love for him to come down to the needle exchange. Because we bring showers in for people, showering trailer, and just for him to just see the life-saving work and the restoring dignity to these people that have just been stripped by society of everything that they have. Right. And sometimes it's just they lost a job.
That sounds beautiful.
It is beautiful. Come down and see it.
I do want to come down, actually. How far? Well, from West Palm, it's about another hour, isn't it?
Hour and a half.
So Miami?
Yeah. All right, so next time I'm in Miami area.
Okay.
But let me ask him, because you just tripped me on something. You said he's in Israel.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know this? The
feeds on everything you open up.
Oh, okay, okay. I was gonna say, not only can she not be ignored, but she'll follow you, is what I was wondering. I was like, so wow, because you knew enough to how to find us.
Yeah,
here on the couch live.
Susan.
Susan, who's another mother.
Yeah. We've become very close.
Right.
Hi, Susan. She's listening.
Yes. Hi, Susan. You did great on the show. Yeah, we know a few mothers.
Don't mess with a determined mom.
Oh no.
No, you can't. No. See, now I'm getting a call
right
now. My phone rings, but you notice how mine's on silent though, Trinity.
Yeah, well.
Mine doesn't have your son laughing on my.
We all can't be perfect.
Well, but you can try, Trinity. You can certainly.
This is me trying.
But you're right. There's several mothers out there that take it a little bit further than the other. But here's one thing that I love. What you said earlier as well is that when we asked about what you're involved in, you said, "Look, I don't have really the time or the energy to follow a .org or to create a .org." Good, because there's a lot of .orgs around that you can
come alongside.
Yeah, collaborate with, and I think that if
more
people,
and all kinds of things.
Now matters more foundation, hint. But the more people just unite with the orgs that are out there, the stronger those orgs become.
Yeah, absolutely.
The more we create new ones, the less powerful they all become. And
I
so
agree.
what I always try to encourage people to do is, listen, when you're in pain and suffering, the last thing you want to do is try to run something, because you're going to be the workhorse. Here's how it's going to work. You're going to go through this pain. You're going to go through this anguish, and you're going to want to create, and you're going to be very vocal initially, especially, and you're going to want to change the world. But then, unfortunately, you're going to see how hard the business of the world truly is, or the politics in this world really is. Then it's going to be like a burnout, and then it's time for you to go heal sometimes. This show originally had my original co-host was Tinker Cooper. Tinker Cooper started an organization called Families Against Drugs. And there came a point that Families Against Drugs was so large, she got the President Points of Light Award from President Bush, the first Bush, and got even Jeb Bush on our show when he was governor. But there came a time where she was just done. And she goes, I'm just done. And she walked away and retired from talking about it. And I can never forget Tinker for that, because I'm like, good for you. Because there came a time where now you got to take care of you. Everybody used you up, and you did a lot of change in the world, but now you still have to take care of you. And so the reason I'm saying this, at the end of the day, no matter what you create, it's better to collaborate, because then when you walk away, you can just walk away.
Absolutely.
And there may come a time where you need to for your own self. So just remember, if you're a parent out there and you've lost somebody, and we know quite a few, so I know a lot of you are listening and watching this program, please just know that as long as you take care of you first, the world's not going to crash and crumble if you walk away and take care of you first. But we need you healthy, because you might come back with more fire, or by taking care of yourself, there's somebody in your life that's there right now that just really needs you. Like you and your husband need each other.
And my older son too.
And your older son, tell us about him.
He's a great kid. He suffered a lot through Kyle's addiction.
What's his name?
Logan.
Logan.
He's just turned 30 about a week ago.
30? You have a 30-year-old?
I have a 30-year-old.
You don't look like you can have a 30-year-old.
Yeah, well, yeah, look me up, you'll see.
Wow.
But the siblings, what they go through is
Right,
horrendous. And
right.
my first thought for my son after we lost Kyle is he lost the only other person on the face of this earth that was supposed to go through the life with him that knew his whole childhood. Like, we'll be gone.
Right.
But that he just lost the person that he was traveling through life with. The drugs really affected Logan because he wanted to save him. And he was the one that when we were so exhausted, sometimes he'd say, Mom, I can't find him. I'm going out to look.
It's tough. And he was the younger brother?
Older brother.
That's even worse.
3 years older.
Because he feels responsible too. So there's his guilt.
Yes. But I think the lies that Kyle would tell him is what really hurt him the worst.
Right.
Because he wanted to help. I know. It's part of the disease.
Yeah, you got to lie to do your dope, man. You got to lie to get high. You got to lie to not feel so much shame yourself for some reason.
Well, one thing that can happen, and I hope it doesn't happen in every family, is the siblings sometimes turn on the mom. And it happened to me.
Yeah, it does happen.
Because they had so much pain, they don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
And here I'm ripped to shreds, and he's going after me too. And, I had to really get on my knees and pray and go to therapy of how to handle this. And, we're good now.
You hit on another point that we better hit, because we only have several minutes left. And let's talk about this blame issue real quick, because Trinity and I talk about it all the time. So, Trinity, since you've been kind of quiet this show, I'm going to let you take this. Trinity, the Dharma Guy. We've obviously talked a lot about when things like this happen, how, like we want to have that person to blame. That anger, that frustration has to go somewhere. So give us a little Dharma time-ish moment, Trinity, if you can, for this episode, on blame and what that does to the individuals.
Well, I mean, we think we're looking for somebody to blame, and we think it's going to make us feel better. We think it's going to take away the anguish or whatever, and just simply doesn't. There really isn't anybody to blame, per se. I mean, it's a disease. If you're going to blame something, blame the disease. And I think that's, you and I were on the phone actually on the way in here, and I think you said it best, is the time and effort and energy and even money spent going after somebody to blame should be spent trying to find a cure, trying to find some way to stop this from killing everybody else. Because at the end of the day, man, blame doesn't really matter. Finding somebody to blame is not going to bring anybody back. You know, and we think it's going to make us feel better, but it really doesn't. You know, getting closure on it and finding ways to move forward is what's going to make you feel better, not blaming somebody.
Yes, I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Right. So in these final minutes, Cindy, what are the things that all too often you want people to hear or you want to say, but you don't have a microphone in front of you at the time? Well, right now you do. So what are some of those things that you think need to be said?
Nobody wakes up one day and says, I think I'm going to be a drug addict because I think it will turn out really well for me. This disease progresses and grows at different rates in different people. Ask God to open your eyes to see things for what they really are. Ask you, when you see that person on the street that's just racked with addiction and you step over them or you go to the other side of the street, stop and just talk to them. Their story is important for them to get out, and sometimes it is the first step towards recovery for them, that you see them, that you're not the person that's going to judge them and walk away from them. And that's not easy for everybody, I get it, and I wasn't that person until now, so I'm not judging you for not being that person. But moms and dads, especially moms, you know your kid. When you feel something is off in your gut, it's probably off. And that's where your mom intuition can just jump in and start to educate yourself and see if there's something you can do to help. Children, parents are the guardians of your brain while you're still at home, and your teachers and your counselors. If you're a young person and you're getting ready to go out into the world, you need to be the guardian of that forming brain, because for boys, it's not even formed until 25. Your judgment center is not fully formed until after 25 years old, which means you're being run on hormones and pleasure, and your decision making is based on that. You need to protect that forming brain because it's going to serve you well. So when you think about a substance, really think about it. And I'm talking about a pill from a doctor. I'm talking about your friend putting something in your hand. Really think about this because it is dangerous out there now. There is nothing that you can trust. I have a friend whose son is on a respirator in 24-hour care from getting pot laced with fentanyl, and he was just 19 years old. So nothing's safe. Just be smart and ask for help if you need it, or you're confused. There's going to be somebody there that's going to put a safety net under you and help you. I'll help you. Find me at Cindy Dodds on Facebook. You know, I talk to kids and parents all the time and addicts. But just live. Choose to live.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I think it's you know, these messages and these voices of people who have lost somebody very close to them are very powerful voices. You know, the stigma surrounding this disease is the actual fuel for this disease. This disease requires the stigma for it to continue, for it to thrive, for it to continue to kill people. It requires all of us to be ignorant. It requires us to blame each other. It requires us to be mad at pharmaceutical companies, drug dealers, the laws, the police, the therapists that didn't do their job, the treatment center that somehow didn't save our child or our loved one. And I'm not saying that all these people that I just mentioned or all these organizations or systems that I just mentioned don't have some blame attached to them or some responsibility in this. What I'm saying is the overall blame, just as Trinity said, is the disease itself. Mm-hmm. This disease is brutal. The disease of addiction completely controls the brain, completely controls the personality, the attitude. It takes away who we used to know as Kyle, and it turns them into something else with little glimpses of who Kyle was, so that we continue to, when we're talking to them, we still feel like we're talking to Kyle, but we're not. We're not fully. It's a true possession. In a time where we are so drawn in by zombie movies and movies of viruses, there's one lesson there. Those exist. These are our modern day viruses and zombies. Only we call them Kyle. We call them whatever name you want to give them. They're our friends, they're our neighbors, they're our brothers, our sisters, our sons, our daughters. And they are, at this moment in time, they are zombies. and they are walking around like these, patient zeros. Yet we're not searching for the cure as much as we're just searching for how do we just calm it down a little bit. How do we quiet that noise? How do we resolve this one family? No, there's a pandemic that is happening, but it's always been happening. People have always been dying from this. And this is going to stop being sexy soon. Hopefully very soon. And then we'll stop talking about it again. What I'm asking you to do is just kind of reach in your heart a little bit and just understand that this has always been happening. We've always been losing somebody. And this disease, I think, is curable. I think somewhere in our science, it's curable. We need the Elon Musk of this world to find it. Just like we developed Narcan, that family development, this can be found. Please understand that our ignorance about this and our blaming other people or thinking someone's an idiot or stupid or they've always been like this. No, there's probably been signs of mental illness for this person a long time. But we've never had the right answer for mental illness. We've never had the right answer for depression, anxiety, or anything like that. But our ignorance and our stigma is what is never going to allow us to find the answers or the cures. So we keep losing the new artists, the new scientists, the new great football players, the new great everything, the new fathers, sons, whatever. And we'll never know all the music that we missed and all the great talent that we've lost, or just the bodies and the friends that we've lost. But you and every mom knows. So anyway, if you need help, 833 Now Matters. 833 Now Matters. The Now Matters More Foundation is there to help you. Go to nowmattersmore.org, and you can find us, and you can ask, and we'll connect you as best we can. Anyway, from all of us here on the Couch Live, thank you very much, Cindy. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
That was awesome.